Well, hello, I'm Jesse Chappell. Sorry I can't be here to be with you fellas in person today, so you get my electronic version of me. I guess that's the today way to clone yourself, but had to be in a SRAC meeting in Memphis, so I'm not able to be with you today, but you're certainly going to be well taken care of by the fellows there, Terry and John and Greg and the fellows at the center. So glad to have an opportunity to get in front of you with this kind of message. We think it's very critical that you fellows are aware and involved in this, so here we go. So I'm going to present some slides of some of the technology that we've been working on, some of the innovations, and I'm going to go pretty rapidly because they've only given me just a few minutes. So let's go ahead and go into the slides. Okay, we're looking at development of a little bit different and new modern catfish industry. So this is the way I've entitled it, Developing the Modern Aquatic Livestock Industry, looking at both near-term and long terms. Now, the purpose of growing catfish is not for lifestyle. It's about growing fish to make money. What are our business objectives, both short, mid, and long terms? We've got to answer these questions. Are the risks that we take appropriate for the returns that we're able to get? And is our business model that we've worked on for the last 30 years or so, is it still working? Is it still competitive? Do we need to reset it? And do we want to? Those are critical things that we have to answer. That go to second slide? Shoot, may have pressed it. Yeah. Okay, am I going again? Now, you fellows know that we've not been very much in improving our efficiency in catfish aquaculture for the last few years. We've gone from what we were getting in the early 80s of 95% or better survivorship and feed efficiencies, better than 1.5 to 1. Well, nowadays we're getting survivals below 60%, and our feed efficiencies are 2.8 or worse to 1. So we've really reached a point where our profitability is marginal at best, and typically nowadays, it's just barely break even. Now, if we are to survive and thrive in the future, we're going to have to look at a more efficient, reduced risk approach to production aquaculture in Alabama. And we've got to develop this modern agricultural livestock industry, linking industry, private business, university and financial folks, forming partnerships, strategic partnerships to make this work. We've got to have frequent and efficient communication, effective communication. And we need a clear plan. If we don't have a plan, we are guaranteed not to hit it. In terms of the kinds of opening shots that I'm talking about, we have to develop this plan that's long ranging. It's not just the next 6 months or a year. We're talking about 10 years or 20-year, 25-year plans. We need to strategically partner to develop these ideas and communicate them amongst the different sectors of the industry. We need to find ways to leverage both the technical and the financial aspects and elements of the industries in order to make it successful. And let's look around at other industries and see what applies to ours, from whether it's poultry or swine or others. Trout, for example, we can learn a lot from what they're doing today, and some of it can be immediately and directly applied. Now, as far as today's agenda is concerned, we're going to be talking about some innovations in production in pond systems and that we've been working on in West Alabama. Intensification using split ponds, raceways in ponds, also intensification using indoor systems that you'll see on the tour this afternoon. But we won't show you many slides today because I only have about 8 minutes. Anyway, we're also looking at ways and means of capturing the byproducts of production, the nutrient waste that the fish are not able to trap, and turn that into a value stream. Now, these types of systems, the kinds of things that they feature and we focus upon, are high survival levels. If we can't get high survival of our animals, we're in trouble already. We need great inventory control so that we can feed appropriately and get the efficiencies that the animals will give us, and also look at strong aspects of developing greater stock uniformity. We can get that in these systems. Feed efficiency can be drastically improved as we improve survivorship and through correct feeding, and these animals will perform up to the food size at well below 1.5. In fact, our trials have shown below 1.4 to 1 on an FCR. We have the opportunity in the reality of clean harvesting. It's all in, all out kind of technology. We don't have leftover fish. We don't have mixed sizes in the same system. It allows us to multi-batch, but these different groups are segregated. Just like hogs in a barn, you've got little pigs with little pigs, larger pigs with larger pigs, etc. We can handle fish disease or fish health aspects very, very proactively, and at the same time do it very, very inexpensively, because we're only treating a very small part of water to proactively work on the fish health aspects to enhance our survivalship. The cost of production is significantly reduced by these factors that we've mentioned first, and in this whole process, we're able to reduce the risk involved in production of these kinds of animals as we go forward. That risk nowadays, as you guys know, is extremely difficult to justify at the returns that we're getting today. And then we have more predictable outcomes, both in product quality and the consistency of what we get coming out in sizes and whatnot. Okay. These longer-term objectives as we work on these systems, the improved tools and infrastructure needed have to do with improved genetics, systems. When we select animals, we want them to be selected for the system that we're going to be producing in. For example, if you can imagine taking a white leghorn of today, a chicken, and trying to produce that as we have with yard birds, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But we need feeds also that are in line with the type of production that we're talking about. It has to be a very good quality, balanced diet. And we need objective-driven research. That's a critical element in this whole thing, so that we get to the efficiencies and elements that we need in the overall production spectrum. We want to make sure that our growers and lenders are very well informed about these systems and involved in them as they are developed. We want to work toward a more attractive utility rate structure. These systems are going to require around-the-clock electricity. So the power guys, the utility guys are really interested in systems that work. They know what kind of load they're going to have. It's steady. That helps them, and we hope that they will in turn help us a little bit. And we want to develop merchantable byproducts that we can add value to, things like manure that we fight every day. We can turn that into a positive and make that manure or those solids an asset for the businesses. So for the purpose of the presentation today, consider these things as relates to poultry and its development over the last, say, 60 or 70 years. Why did they have to remake themselves as they advanced in the way of mass production of broilers? Well, they reached a point where it was seat of the pants, and they had to make these kinds of changes. There was no choice if they were going to go on into the mainstream of meat production. And had they not done that and made these changes that drastically and dramatically improved efficiencies and lowered costs, and increase the overall production volume and improve that quality of a product in terms of its uniformity and predictability, and reduce the risk at the same time, would there be a poultry industry of $2.4 billion value in Alabama today? I say not, and I don't think there would be a KFC on every corner around these days. Used to be, we produced a lot of birds like this, not near as many as we do today, but this was commonplace in the 30s, 40s, and early 50s, where birds were produced in pastures, outside, in all parts of Alabama or the South for that matter. But nowadays, the broiler production is done in modern barns where we have a whole lot more control over the production. These buildings and systems are very efficient. They lend themselves to the kind of mass production and the kind of efficiencies that we must get in order for that bird and that meat essentially to be put on the plate of a lot of folks around the country. In these systems, we produce a lot of birds. A tremendous amount of poultry is produced in these kind of things, and they're going through there in 35 to 38 days. It's absolutely amazing that they put those chicks in and they come out that quickly, and they're able to do this by maintaining a quality environment, the kind of environment that is required for those animals to be moving forward every minute of every hour of every day in terms of their overall gain and efficiency and march to their slaughter weight. These systems have to be managed, and we have to maintain a high quality environment, and we're doing it with these computer tools so that we can ventilate the building and whatnot, but so that these efficiencies are gained every step of the way. We even have systems that allow for mechanical harvesting of the birds, just like we do in some aspects of fish. But this, again, it allows us to produce and harvest these animals very, very efficiently and at low cost. So again, these things are featuring high survivorship in these barns, excellent feed efficiency, 34 to 39 day cycles, and a very uniform flock. If we look at this in trout, and I'm not sure this is all on the screen, but we're looking in trout production, we're also getting survivals above 95%, feed efficiencies 1.2 to 1, low harvest cost because we're using fish pumps to move the fish, using multiple batch, but again, they're segregated by size in the raceways, and then routine harvesting of manure solids as a part of the overall management. Fish pumps are commonly used in trout as a mechanical means of moving the fish out. We literally suck them in a pump, take them up on a dewatering tower, and they're dropped into the truck on the way down. So let's take a look at some of these different means, these different innovations that we've got, facing us today here in Alabama. We want to make sure you guys are aware of them. And so I'll stop this presentation right now. We'll start up the next one momentarily.